Time now for Night Court. On the docket tonight, the Billy Graham rule is going to court. A sheriff's deputy in North Carolina is suing for religious discrimination. He says it happened after he was fired for refusing to train a female deputy alone, an act that would cause them to be in extended one-on-one time with a member of the opposite sex who is not his wife. He says it's a religious issue. Well, the social rule was popularized by America's pastor, evangelical Billy Graham. Let's break it down now with our Legal Eagles criminal defense attorneys Will Bruno and David Bruno. Great to have you both with us, gentlemen.
Hello,
Thanks for having us.
All right, we're starting with Exhibit A. This is the lawsuit. It says the job duty of training female deputies in such a manner violates plaintiff's religious beliefs against being alone for periods of time with females who are not his wife and leaving the appearance of sinful conduct on his part. Will, he says, got fired for religious discrimination.
Yeah, so, my take on this is that, well, the Supreme Court says that while you're free to exercise your religion, if a religious neutral law infringes your religion, you can't ignore the law or the rule in this case. Here's the other thing. It sounds like he's the one with the problem, and this woman shouldn't suffer simply because he has some issue or can't trust himself being alone with a woman. So, to me, I think the Supreme Court would say that he doesn't have a case here. And in addition, I think it discriminates against women.
All right, to that point, Exhibit B, under the headline in Relevant magazine, people are getting sued over the Billy Graham rule. Now, they said the case will likely rest on the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which requires employers to make a reasonable accommodation for employees' religious beliefs. Torres, that's the deputy here, may have to prove that the Billy Graham rule is indeed a religious belief and not just a personal rule, but he'll run up against the possibility that female employees will claim discrimination for being denied this training. David, how do you respond to Exhibit B?
Well, that's not necessarily an issue in the federal lawsuit where the deputy brought. I mean, I think he's in firm ground here, actually, because, first of all, religion is protected and you can't discriminate against it, both federal and North Carolina law. And here, he gave notice to his employer. He asked for a reasonable accommodation. And what they should have done is addressed it, or they should have worked with their lawyers on it, but instead, they denied it. They fired him for no reason 2 months after the accommodation request. They didn't send sergeants to back him up on very dangerous streets, and they didn't go about it the right way. So I think he's fine here. Whether or not it's violation of other civil rights, well, that's not an issue here. It possibly could be. I agree. Okay,
I want you both to weigh in on something quickly. He says there's also this retaliation element, the fact that he was fired, the fact that backup wasn't sent to him in a dangerous situation. And he says 2 jobs with other law enforcement agencies he's tried to get. He says because of this, he hasn't been able to. Quickly have you both weigh in, Will and then David, about 20 seconds each.
That doesn't seem right to me that they would be saying these negative things about him. At the same time, though, women are in, areas that they've never been in before. They're in law enforcement, they're in the military. So, I think it'd be difficult for him to be in law enforcement if he finds that he can't be alone with a woman.
Okay. David?
The retaliation by the employer shows that they fired him for this reason. There was the job that he could have got, and in the complaint it alleges that the county told the prospective employer that they fired him because of the accommodation request. So I think it helps the plaintiff's case.
Okay, and by the way, the county, the Sheriff's Department are not publicly commenting on this, or we would let you know what they had to say. All right, Will and David, you have ably made your cases. We'll leave it to the jury at home. Thank you both. If you want to let us know what you think about Night Court tonight, use the hashtag Night Court, and you can respond at Shannon Bream or at Fox News 9. Thank you, gentlemen.
Have a great week.
Thank you.
You too.